8:05, and Inland Power is not here. I do have their presentation that I'll go ahead and load. They have a meeting tomorrow at the Blanchard Area Community Center at 10 a.m. And then the next one will be on the 25th of August. So instead of me going through their presentation, I'm going to let Inland Power do their own. And then we can talk about next week. I did speak with our state controller, Brandon Wolf, and we are on schedule for that discussion with our community. And so I wanted to open up opportunity for the two of you, since you're here, of things that you might want to have addressed regarding our controller or just in general commissioner stuff. We just finished our budget. If you got a chance to take a look at that, there were a lot of differences that moving us in the right direction. It doesn't mean we got everything accomplished that we wanted to in a granular sense, but the biggest thing was getting the refocus on how to do a budget and to focus on a little bit more detail, a lot more detail than what we have ever done as a county, and then more accountability for how we're spending funds. So you can grab that microphone since we are recording, and then just free wheel it, and whatever you want to ask, I'll just sit here and be asked questions.
Do I need to state my name?
No, everyone knows you, Wayne Martin, for the record. He tries to hide behind when I don't know if it's you or not there, but yeah.
I will take this opportunity to thank you and the other two commissioners for all the work, and I know it was hard work going through the budget.
Yeah.
It was nice, even though I wasn't here while you guys were having the different departments, but it was nice being able to view and watch what you folks were requesting of the different departments, and that they in turn were able to come back with, in most cases, answering the questions that you had or requests that you had on the budget. So I know on my behalf, and I'm sure for most of the citizens in the county, that they are very appreciative of, all that due diligence that you folks did.
What would you like to see differently? Because I'd also like to hear what I think the public has done a good job of complimenting on the changes that you guys are seeing, but there are still ideas that people out there in public have. And Jonna, thanks for joining. The Inland Power has not shown up, so we're just treating this as a just discussion. So you can unmute yourself and double dutch into the conversation.
Thank you.
What would you guys would like to see differently? Because one of the things that I have done is taken a look at other counties and how they do that presentation, and the kind of hitting the metrics that the people want to see in their areas. One of the biggest things that I took away from a lot of the jurisdictions was people want to know the percentage of the budget that is related to the statutory obligation, and that was something a lot of people shifted into doing this go round with, instead of, because in the way it works and the way the statute's written, it's the clerk presents it and the board is just making a vote. They give their back and forth. Ours does not do that. And one of the things I wanted to see was more data from our clerk's office with more of a visibility by the people presenting. And so if you watch, Ada County is a good example. They did a very good round this year again, where they brought forward in that actual hearing, for example, the treasurer comes forward. And so the clerk's office gives their discussion, recommendation, and they tell you the changes. But then the treasurer comes up with their own presentation of, this is what I did last year, this is what I'm doing this year, this is where my gaps are and my needs. And then it allowed for the community to ask after a presentation was put together. And I liked that because it allowed the individual electeds and directors to get credit for the work that they did on their own fiscal response versus just a board saying, hey, I want you to cut that, or I want you to take a look at that. What are your thoughts on something like that?
I would love to have heard her comments
She did probably I thought hers was actually the best, well-presented
Yeah.
first budget.
Especially from the standpoint of coming up and saying, okay, this is where our projected revenues are coming from. I know there's always differences as to, the tax on cigarettes coming in for one department or another, and
Yeah.
grants and all that are offered. But yeah, for me, hearing the treasurer, who is the receiver of the money, and watching whatever, I liked our comp controller, her presentation, the clerk, that was very good. I appreciated the pie that he did, showing, the different slices as to how much was going into the different areas. Many times I just see numbers, or at best, maybe they've done I don't want to call it a line chart, but where you've got color lines going up
Bar
and down.
chart.
Okay. And all, actually seeing a pie that you can visually look at it and go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that amount of money went in that direction, or that little went, in another direction, so that you're able to go, oh, maybe we need to, as citizens, speak up a little bit more and say, is there a way that we can increase, money in this direction or in that direction?
Yeah.
For myself, I thought that it was a very well presented, budget.
What about being able to earmark what projects? Because one of the things we hear of how much money we need, but not where does it need to be spent, so that we can say, well, we did ask for it, we did receive it, and we can say that that project's done, so that we're actually marking it off as a done project versus the, this isn't a comment about our county specifically, but just the process by which people buy what they want and then ask for what they need. And so then it doesn't feel like we move the ball down the field any. And so that was one of the differences that fortunately we had as a board, was an agreement that we needed to actually, for example, with Historical Society, and why I called that one out was, we have an obligation, but we want to make sure our obligation is fulfilled with our dollars. And taking that approach with also our departments, because we hear it's the generic terms of I have a need versus tell me what the need is. And then what are we doing to plan for that need? Not just saying the words that can be seen as the appeal to emotion of a need that's unfulfilled, versus explain to me the need that requires us to continue to say, we're going to use this much in the budget. Because one of the reasons I wanted, I'll tell you my one disappointment was I wanted more of the state reps to see how their decisions impact our county. I was thankful that Rep. Souter, he stuck behind, and we had a conversation about some of the things that he was working on specific to our emergency services in our area and fire, and what does that look like and what should we do. And he actually even took extra steps to try to connect with our clerk to get some data, and then also wanting data on my comment about healthcare and suicide in our area. The more that we, not just as elected, because we are just individuals, but our government relies on our people being involved. And one of the things that I've heard with a lot of the reps is when they're going down south, we are not there as a support group. And how do we mobilize to get things to change? He did say to me that the comment about we got EMS identified as a whole as, critical infrastructure type of a situation, but that didn't change funding. And so there's hope that this session will see a difference in how things are funded to include a change on the 911 dispatch. But my response was, we need to know as a community, because Ada County is very large, they have more funds, but as a small community, we need to make sure our voice is heard to include how much our kind of area needs that kind of support. And it's one where it's an opportunity to go through the different groups of saying, can we start circulating of, we can do a caravan to Boise to help push the narratives because you're impacting our budget. Like I went to the state conference for the Republican Party, and they were making a very strong push from Bonner County to remove the tax on cigarettes. And I had made the comment of, you're going to redistribute that money to all of us to include those that don't smoke. What's your plan if you're going to push that? And I said, I understand what you're saying, but, and I kind of provided metrics about Medicaid, Medicare, the conditions and the healthcare impact, and the reason that, in my mind, there's an argument to be made for engaging in something that costs the community as a whole. But if we choose to change that type of algorithm, how do you address the county budget when you do that? And the answer that I got was, well, we just want to reduce the county budget. You're not that doesn't solve the problem, because you've got indigent issues, you've got healthcare needs. Those come to us still. We have to write off some things related to that. And then you have the increased cost of all of healthcare when you're removing things. So part of what my takeaway was when I was listening to that discussion, especially since it actually failed in committee, but then it pulled out because it got a minority report, and which is not, you can do that. But my question still was, but you don't have a plan for how that will impact the county. It will impact the county. And that is why I shifted to, we need to make sure we're dialoguing with our state reps, because whether we agree or disagree, that's not my issue. It's we're not talking enough together. I've been working on increasing communication in our county. I got to meet with Mayor Grimm on how do we increase that communication, because once you get in a position when you're making decisions, doesn't matter what your team is, you have to sit at the table and you have to be a voice of influence for your position, because if you're not, someone else is going to take that seat. And that's part of kind of a goal of mine, is we get impacted by what the city does. We get impacted with all of the cities. We get impacted by what the states do, but we're all not talking to each other. And that means when the decision is made, we're not going into another session. We're going to have the impact in the county. And so what do you guys think you do to help get more people? There's a hand up there.
Oh, hey there. If I may, I just wanted to offer, I know that Inland Power is not here, but I'm here representing a technology partner that is sort of adjacent to this project that they were prepared to speak on. And I don't know whether it would be friendly to suggest that, or just to mention that I'm available for some comment on a portion of the slide deck that relates to the specific technology. My understanding was that Kim Gentle from Inland Power was going to be there in person today.
That's what my
She may still
understanding
be there.
was. That was my understanding. And so the people were asked, do you want me to go through their slide deck? And it's I can't answer any questions about their slide deck. I put their slide deck up. But how do you want to give a discussion about what you were prepared to talk about?
I'd be
Because
happy to, yeah.
so we will let you do that then, sir. Thanks for chiming in.
Sure. I don't see the slide deck on my screen, but
I
if there's
can
a,
go, I can manipulate the slide deck here.
oh, okay. I'm not sure how much of a background has been given, and I don't feel sufficiently prepared to offer the technological background from the utilities perspective. The summary from as a technology partner, in terms of an understanding, is that Inland Power understands that a certain substation in Blanchard has been sort of problematic for the customers of the utility, and it has written a grant to receive funding to help, with solutions for that. And a a part of the solution would be, I think I'd be down past slide 5. If you'd continue scrolling down, I'll let you know where we get to the area that involves us. But it is a residential. This is where we are. Yeah, this is perfect. If you could stay here for just a second. They've basically been successful in obtaining funding to roll out to do a Q&A session that's tomorrow and next week. And the subject is home battery backup solutions. And I'm here from Northwest Renewables. Uh, we're a Spokane-based electrical contractor that works to help people get grid independence and to support resiliency. And so we've been working with Inland Power to develop a solutions package. Together, we've identified the potential harms of power outages. These are listed here: medical devices, your water well going down, fridge and freezer going down, internet communications, and lighting. I'm not sure what the average duration of time of an outage is, but we have worked with them to develop a turnkey, scalable home battery solution that delivers automatic backup of residential critical loads. This is Enphase is the company, Enphase Technology, and it's a UL listed system. It's their 4th generation, so they've been doing this for quite a bit. So this design is intended to be sort of on a custom basis with each individual customer to identify their critical loads, circuits in their electrical panel, their water well, their convenience outlet for internet modems and phone charging, refrigerators and freezers, in order to install these systems. And um, I can't comment completely or definitively about the cost sharing structure, but my understanding is that roughly 3/4 of the cost of installation will be can be grant funded, and that the remainder that they have additional low income or low interest financing available to uh, help subsidize or make it achievable. I think the pilot is up to maybe 100 battery installations, and that their um, focus area that aligns with their grant funding has been determined to be the General Blanchard area or customers of that substation. So I'm certainly not doing justice in terms of the level of information that Inland Power has to share about funding sources and all things related to the utility. I'm more here to support them uh, on the technical side. And so I know that we were sort of using the time for other Bonner County business related items, but I just wanted to make myself available for Q&A or to present just the rudimentary idea that I think that was the topic on the agenda.
No, this actually was only, this portion to 8:45 was only for this. And so if you have time, you can field questions on this. Do you want me to go to your next slides of Northwest Renewables where your
Sure,
is
please.
mentioned? And then Wade Martin has a question for you.
Okay. Right. So this is the stock image that is provided by Enphase. The system components include an owner-owned meter socket that would go beside the Inland Power meter socket. This is to make the interconnection. Um, the in this image, the electrical panels on the outside of the house, this system would typically be preferred to be mounted inside a garage space or inside a utility closet in a non-dwelling space. So not in a bedroom, not in a family room. It could be in a basement if it met certain conditions. But it'll be regulated by code. The next box that you have that is to the right of the electrical panel is what's called a combiner box. And this is essentially the brains of the system that handles the automatic switching. It has generator capabilities, so this can be programmed so that the generator will turn on. This battery system could be a great advantage for someone who already has a backup generator because it can enhance the fuel efficiency of the generator. The generator can dump power to the battery, which is the component on the far right. And when the battery is topped off, the generator can shut off and not be using, say, LP gas, and it can instead switch to having having the home or the critical loads run on the battery. So we can go to the next slide. I guess okay.
You're
So,
good.
oh, that was it for me. But so the batteries can be scaled also for additional capacity. These are the Enphase 10C batteries that have a 10 kilowatt hour capacity. So things that they won't do, you can't run a welder on these things. There's going to be some HVAC systems that that will not work or will not work for very long. And so it'll really be up to the user to determine how to sort of leverage this asset, which is whose existence is largely funded by the utility. They'll be able to have controls over both defining their critical loads, and they can sort of prioritize the loads there. So that's basically, that's a really high level view. We're going to have more details at the in-person tomorrow and later in the evening next week, which include having the form factor of the battery, having the combiner box present, a meter collar so people can actually see what we're doing, and we'll have a technical expert who handles our system engineering will be on hand at both of those meetings to field the more technical questions that may arise.
Before you go technical questions, the question that I got data dumped from most everyone was, how much will this cost the homeowner? Is there an estimated cost that you guys have?
I don't have that concrete yet, but I think that is part of the Q&A at the sessions, is to kind of to talk about that issue. I am under the impression that the majority of the expense or the outlay in a typical installation, there are going to be some non-typical situations. And an example would be if an electrical panel is out of date and is not up to code, it would be a prerequisite to update that panel to meet code before installing this. So that would be an atypical situation, but I think that there's a possibility that these could be that the outlay could be a no money down situation, but I really have to leave that to Kim to comment on. But they recognize that getting traction with the program that results in the disbursement of funds that they've achieved through the grant, that is going to be directly linked to the affordability for the customer. So I guess that's my long-winded answer of saying I'm not really sure yet.
And I think that's a question people will probably have for a little bit is this, so from the Blanchard area, I live in Blanchard, so I got my list of questions to ask on this project, and it is, in big part, is this a way for inland power to be paid when we are on our generator? Is that, or is there no cost to people doing this and it's just sustainable energy when we have power outages? But let's let Wayne ask you a question.
Kevin, if I'm correct, you said that you are a contractor working
That's correct.
with them?
We're an
Okay.
electrical contractor.
All right. I will make a comment, and granted, it's not up in this area. Down in Newport Beach, California, when the city of Newport Beach decided that they were going to start putting electrical underground and removing the above-ground power lines, the residents did not have that opportunity to make a choice. And as a contractor, I know you're separated from that aspect. But if that was the determining future factor that they're going to be doing, what will that throw at the consumer as to costs? And you're correct with the electrical panel, because I see that frequently with a lot of people. Or do you have any clue or idea as to anything that way? And I guess in regards to that, I'm looking at my house. I'm not in Blanchard, but if I were to do this, where my station and all would be outside, and I would probably end up wanting to build a small little building in order to put this system in. Would that be permissible?
Yeah, these are, I mean, on that last point, I'm not an electrician. We have electricians that handle all of our installations and site visits and system planning. Everything that we will be installing will be code compliant, and we will work with the various concerns or priorities of each individual customer to identify where the least obtrusive or best for whatever reason location is for their priorities. So if code determines that a standalone shed or a carport or something like that is perfectly help inform the various options and sort of work with the customer to find the right spot.
All right.
On the question of underground, as an example, in California, I'm not of the utility. I have no information about their plans related to the grid. This is more to, this isn't a solution for the problem. This is a incremental solution that is can be on an individual level, steps that can be taken. And there are people for whom a power outage is an inconvenience, and there are others for whom a power outage may be a matter of life or death. And so I think that the impetus for inland power was to
No, he pressed mute. Someone walked in and said something, I think. So he pressed mute. Are you still there, Kevin?
I'm still here. Yep.
Yep. We heard the impetus of inland power, and then it looked like you pressed mute.
Oh gosh, there might be some delay here. Yeah, I think that the end of my sentence was simply that there's an ability that this program or pilot is designed to help give some individual
Options. We'll
Options,
finish the
projections.
sentence with options.
I do have one other question, Kevin, since as a contractor, you or your company is doing the installations, I believe.
Level
Do
of
you, do you know what type of,
in response to the outages. This isn't something that is intended to solve on the breaking up, perhaps. I'm not sure. I can hear you.
Okay.
all right, I'm going to change just a little bit. Do you know or are you aware of what type of batteries are used in the battery backup system that are being used?
Yes, I do. Yeah, this is a lithium iron phosphate. So if you want to do like go down the rabbit hole of research, you would be this is commonly referred to as LiFePO4, and that is the chemical representation of lithium iron phosphate. And so this is discretely different from your standard lithium ion batteries or lithium batteries that have been known to have like a quick burn rate or something like that. These are, if you do the comparison, these are very stable and meet a much higher standard in terms of safety.
And they don't have quite the off gas that lithium ion has.
That's what I understand. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I unfortunately have done probably too much research on that, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Can I ask, is there how far do you have to be from the actual location? So I don't know if you know where that Blanchard Community Center is, but is that an option if you're at that distance, but at the kind of the flatlands of Blanchard, an opportunity for the program? Because I haven't seen a map of where this would be able to be implemented in Blanchard. It's not very large, but they're they're larger pieces of land. And so do we know what the distance is?
No, I think Kim is the person who can comment on the eligibility requirements, if there are any. The only issue or point that I understand was that the pilot is designed to involve customers of a particular substation, which is referenced
The
above.
Hoodoo substation.
The Hoodoo substation, correct. So I don't know who those customers are specifically, and I don't know what Inland Power's response would be to one of their customers who is from the area that is not particularly a customer of that substation. That would be a question for Inland.
I know one of the other questions that I've been asked, and I'm surprised Wayne didn't bring this one up, was there conversations with fire regarding if a fire were to occur, does this lend itself to see, you're embarrassed of yourself not asking the fire question? You usually always ask a fire question.
Because the type of battery? Because of the type of battery system that they're using, it is not as high a risk.
We have to finish the whole sentence. We ought to
I
research
understand.
batteries.
I understand, but that's why I'm not
Okay,
embarrassed.
so we're not going to catch on fire and burn forever, because usually that's Wayne's thing. Are we going to burn for a long time? All right. Any other questions for Northwest Renewables, who's filling in the best they can for Inland? No? All right, sir, what we'll do, oh,
Sorry, real quick.
Donna, yes.
I just have a question because I've seen so much lately about lithium batteries being dangerous and catching on fire themselves, causing an issue with fire. I'd never heard that before, but if you look it up, it's shockingly how that happens. So that would be a concern for me, obviously. About
Yeah, that speaks directly to that is real, and that is, I think that the majority of those cases really are related to, they're called lithium ion batteries, and this technology is a subset of lithium-ion batteries, but it's based on a chemical composition that is not as volatile, and that has been proven to not have the similar characteristics as those incidents that have kind of gotten runway fires and volatile off gases. This is the evolution that solves for those things. So this is the next level. This is the fourth generation of batteries that Enphase has made.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you, Kevin.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right, well, some of us will see you tomorrow.
Sounds great. I look forward to that. Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good day. It's 8:41 and we're going to end the commissioners' discussion. Thank you, Jonna.